Today we're going to be testing Navigate on Autopilot on software version 2020.28.6. It is going to be on my normal commute to work, or the work commute that I used to do about 5 months ago. So it's actually been 13 software updates since I made this commute to work and back. It's a little over 100 miles, about 110 miles round trip. So I get to use the Interchange Navigate on Autopilot with lane changes, a couple interchanges where we have to get from 75 south to I-20 east and back, obviously the opposite direction in the afternoon. We're not going to be doing it at the regular times, but I did want to see how much improvement has been made to Navigate on Autopilot since software version 2020.8.1, which was the last software version that I had on my commute. So today we're doing a little testing on software version 2020.28.6 to see what's been improved in 5 months. So I was editing this video and it actually came out a little bit longer than I was expecting. So we're actually going to come out with another video tomorrow of just the drive. So if you just want to see the drive and you don't want to hear any of my commentary, well, that hurts. But you can just check out the video tomorrow and just see the drive. So I am doing the normal commute today. When I did this commute before, I did have Navigate on Autopilot on, but I would always keep the speed-based lane changes disabled. We're gonna get here on Interstate and that's it. We're gonna see how it does. See if Autopilot can take us to work without any disengagements. This is the on-ramp test. Didn't used to have any trouble with the on-ramp, but we'll see. And there it goes. No problem with the on-ramp. A good start to the commute. Alright, so here's something that Tesla definitely needs to work on with Autopilot. Every time there's an on-ramp, Navigate on Autopilot or just Autopilot will veer into that incoming lane a little bit because it looks like the lane lines are widening. Instead of holding to the left dotted line, it will try to find the solid white line on the right side, which is the incorrect behavior. Alright, so let's see if it does it here again. With this on-ramp coming in, you can see the lines expand and it dips over to the right. And then it corrects itself once the line comes back in. So definitely something they have to correct. Hopefully on that major rewrite that's coming out, they're going to resolve that. Alright, so here's our first interchange. We're going to be going from 575 south to 75 south. I'm going to let it choose when to get over. We need to get over one lane to the left, at least. Goes. We kind of are going pretty slow. We're going 60 behind this truck here. But I told it not to get around slow vehicles, so here we are. Yeah, so just to avoid any cars coming in, I'm going to go ahead and get over one lane. is the interchange from 75 to 75 inside the perimeter. So no turn signal. It used to do a turn signal there where that lane splits, but it actually didn't do it today. I don't think it's really necessary, but a noted difference. Okay, now it's deciding that it wants to get over one lane. Okay. So that wasn't necessary. But again, I do prefer to be in the second lane from the right just to avoid on-ramps. I think in that situation it thought that it needed to get over because there was an exit-only lane to the right, but there's still a lane here to the right, so that's fine. Alright, so less than a mile from the 75 to 75-85 interchange. Like I said previously, it does tend to want to get over one lane to the left and then keep right at the lane split. I would much prefer that it stay in this lane and then get over one lane to the left after that lane splits. So let's see how it does today. It's already mentioning the upcoming lane change, but surely it won't do it before it splits here. Let's see. Nope. Alright, so that is an improvement. It decided not to get over until after we got to this point. It's waiting for this car here on the left before it gets over. Nice smooth lane change. So that was successful. That is exactly the way I prefer it to do that. These two lanes to the right here will go away. So we will go a lot slower in this lane, but this is the lane that we need to be in for the next interchange, which is 75-85 to 20 east. So we'll just go ahead and stay in this lane, and hopefully that interchange will go well. That is one that it definitely had struggled with across many updates. So some updates it would work and it would do it properly, and then other updates it failed to take the interchange to 20. So we'll get to see today whether version 2020.28.6 does have the ability to take that interchange properly. Alright, here's a spot where it's particularly irritating when it dips into the right. And of course it's doing it again. Thankfully the truck behind me didn't have any problem with it. Alright, so here's the interchange to I-20 East. We do not want to get over. So I had to cancel that one. Actually, it ended up canceling itself for some reason, but I think right before I tapped it, it had actually canceled it. we need to stay in this lane here, and then we need to keep to the right. So this lane will split and exit to the right. So it should turn on signal right now would be good. We need to go to the right. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I'm always waiting on pins and needles. Is it going to take the exit or not? But, so it's good. 2020.28.6, at least for now, this version of the software does correctly do that interchange. So that's a good sign. So far, no interventions by me, so I did not have to cancel Autopilot or navigate on Autopilot at any point. I did make one lane change just out of preference, not really out of necessity, and I was going to cancel a lane change there before, but it decided to do that on its own. So far, so good. Alright, so it's going to go ahead and make a lane change here. This is the lane that we actually need to be in. Here, it would be perfectly fine for it to get over one lane. And usually that would be preferred to be in the middle lane rather than the far right lane. But we'll just see what it does. I'll let it decide whether it wants to get over or not. Alright, with all of these cars coming in from the right and us being a lot slower here in this lane, I'm going to go ahead and get over one lane. Alright, so here we are. We made it 52 miles, 53 miles. And we just have to get to this exit, which is 1.4 miles away. So it looks like we're going to make it all the way on this commute from on-ramp to off-ramp through at least three, let's call it three interchanges on Navigate on Autopilot, and everything has gone well. Just have to make this final exit here, and we will have done basically the whole commute on the interstate on Navigate on Autopilot. So software version 2020.28.6 has done great. Here it is, getting over in the right lane so we can exit here. So morning commute has been great and no problem. But overall, I have been very happy with the improvements that Tesla has made to Autopilot since version 2020.8.1. So it's been 5 months. There's been plenty of time for that update to be refined. Been plenty of time for Tesla to refine, navigate on Autopilot, but sometimes when you use it on a daily basis, you don't really see the improvements. You kind of miss a lot of the improvements over time. So now with a 5-month gap since I've last done this commute, it was very noticeable actually that a few areas that were problematic before had been corrected. So we did make it 55.4 miles on this commute, so no problem getting into the office with Navigate on Autopilot on version 2020.28.6, so that was very good. And we did end up with 207 watt hours per mile, so that is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can actually charge up at work here. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've used a charger here, obviously about 5 months. So let's just see if it even works. I'm pretty sure it will. And I don't need to charge. I can definitely get back home without charging, but it's nice to have 80% nice full battery before we go. So we'll see. All right, it's a few hours later and we're going to do the commute back home, and I'm not going to record all of the trip, really just going to focus on the one interchange from I-20 westbound to I-75-85 northbound. If you've been a subscriber for a while, you'll remember that I did do what I called Move Over Mondays for a while there, where we would see if Autopilot could take us from the furthest right lane to the furthest left lane, right when it goes through that interchange onto 75-85, and it has to go across 6 lanes in order to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and test that again here on software version 2020.28.6. Got to turn on the HOV lane preference on Autopilot, actually on the navigation, and Autopilot will attempt to get all the way over to that lane, and we can see if it makes it in time to get over in that lane. Shouldn't be nearly as much traffic as I normally deal with, so it should have a better chance of that. All right, so in order to test Navigate on Autopilot's ability to make the lane changes after this interchange, we have to turn on Use HOV Lanes. So now Autopilot, as we make this interchange from I-20 to I-75-85 north, should try to immediately get over as far left as it can, because it needs to get all the way over in the furthest left lane, which is 6 lane changes from the exit. So has to do all that within less than a mile. So already we're kind of set up in the wrong lane here, which is a little unusual. Usually by this time it's already tried to get over at least into the left lane. Alright. Technically that's just a merge, not really a lane change. Now it's actually making lane change. All right. So far, so good. Doesn't have much time to get over though. Yeah, so it missed it there. Technically, it can't go over the double white lines, so it did not make it in time. However, there is a gap right up here, and I'm sure it will make it into it here. Yep. So because there wasn't a whole lot of traffic, it actually did not make it all the way over in under the, I think it's 0.8 miles, if I remember correctly, from the on-ramp over to the end of that first access point. However, with the traffic being light today and at this time of day, that's really not a big deal. So totally fine that it didn't make it in the first part and then got in there later. And it did everything very smoothly, no problems. I did not have to disengage. So it's hard to say whether there's been a lot of improvements to that. I will say the initial lane that we were in was different than it was previously. Usually it would try to be in the left lane right when it was merging on to 75-85, and so that definitely was a tricky part of merging in so soon. So this was a different way to do that. So overall though, it was very smooth and it worked out very well, so I'm very impressed with software 28.6 2020.28.6. All right, so a very successful use of Navigate on Autopilot on the first commute I've done in over 5 months to the office. So I'm happy with that for sure. All right, so we made it back and everything went really well, I think, with software 2020.28.6 on the commute. The Move Over Monday test, where we did 6 lane changes from the furthest right to the furthest left on 75-85, went very well. No interventions the entire drive, and Autopilot handled everything much better than it had in past. So it had been over 5 months since I did the last commute, and there's been a lot of improvements. 13 software updates I've gotten since the last time I did this commute. So I was expecting some differences, hopefully, but overall, I'm very impressed. They seem to be making a lot of progress and things are updating quickly. And they still haven't even released the major rewrite that they're planning for later this year, which we're expecting to have many quick updates after that is released. So very excited to see what Tesla has in store for Autopilot and the future of full self-driving. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps others find it, and we're trying to grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers, so anything you can do to help, that is much appreciated. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.